Hey buddy! Welcome back to the channel and to World of Warships. Before we jump into the game, I thought I'd just go over my captain build and how I spec my ships very fast. And this is the build that I use in this game that I will showcase. If we talk about upgrades, first slot, main armament, there's really no question about this. The other two are not really viable. Second slot is a bit interesting, because here I have gone with the special upgraded modification 1 for surveillance radar. Because first I was thinking about grinding the legendary module for the Wooster or Worchester. But that is quite a grind, and with that legendary module it nerfs your concealment so you get bigger detection, and it extends the action time of all your consumables pretty much. But the only consumable that I really want to extend is the radar, because the anti-air and hydroacoustic search are pretty strong as is. And if you look at the action time of the legendary module, you only get 10% extra action time of the radar. But by choosing this upgraded module that is purchasable in the armory for coal, I think, and it's so much easier to attain than the legendary module, you get actually 20% action time, which is a huge deal and a huge upgrade to the legendary module. So I would really recommend you investing that coal into purchasing this one. Otherwise, I would probably go with damage control system in this slot, just to nerf the risk of fire and flooding. The third slot, of course, anti-air. In this current CV meta, I mean, you have to spec for anti-air in pretty much every ship you have, which is kind of sad, because even on destroyers you choose not great skills like radiolocation, which is a great skill for a destroyer. Instead you try and boost your pathetic anti-air as much as possible. And this is just one of the issues I have with this new CV rework and meta. That you have pretty much needed to nerf every ship you have to just cater to one class. So to counter one class of ships in the game, you pretty much have to make all your ships meh, instead of actually speccing them fully for their individual strength. So I would probably go with aiming systems on this one instead, but of course in this meta I will go with AA. Slot number 4, propulsion modification, because you will sit sometimes in destroyer smokes, because you have both hydroacoustic search and radar, and you will also sit behind islands a lot, spamming your HE. And when you get spotted or torps are coming into the smoke, you want to be able to accelerate as quickly as possible, and that's why I choose this one. You could of course use this one to nerf the duration of fire and flood, of course, as well. And you can also use steering gears if you want to gunboat in the open and try and dodge and weave battleship AP salvos, but I wouldn't really recommend that one. So I actually find this one the most bang for the buck, so to speak. Number 5 slot, of course, concealment. Nothing, I mean this, I don't think I use this on any ship, ever. And this I only use on my Habarovsk, pretty much. So concealment, because with concealment and full concealment build captain, I get my concealment down to 9.8 kilometers. And with my radar going out to 9 kilometers, if you and an enemy destroyer are heading towards each other and he spots you at 9.8, you can pretty much push your radar directly, and within maybe 1 or 2 seconds you will spot the destroyer. And as you can see, using this upgraded module that I spoke of before, the action time of my consumable for radar is 48 seconds. It's almost a full minute. So that destroyer is not gonna have a fun time. So definitely concealment in the 5th slot, and of course in the last slot AA again, just to try and boost that nerfed AA as much as possible. But of course I would probably rather use main battery reload time modification 3, just to get my reload down from 4.6 seconds to 4 seconds, and then you have also adrenaline rush kicking in during the game. That pretty much gives this cruiser with its 12 guns same reload as a destroyer. But in this current CV meta, you don't really have a choice. Consumable wise, of course, this is a tier 10 cruiser. I use premium on everything, which I do on pretty much every ship in my port, because I have credits to spend. But if you're short on cash, I would definitely recommend Damage Control Party 2 first, Repair Party 2 second. In this current meta, I would actually go for Defensive AA third, Radar 4th, and Hydro 5th. But if you can spend it, of course use premium on all 5, because with this cost, the extra damage output and the survivability that you gain from using premium on all these 5 consumables will easy bring home enough money to pay for these premium consumable uses, and then some. So I would highly recommend you using premium on all. Exterior wise, camouflage, of course, use any camouflage you like. I'm actually contemplating buying the premium one for Worchester because I really love this ship. But as long as you use a concealment camouflage, you can pretty much use any camouflage you like. I'm rocking the, what's this, sci-fi space camo right now, which looks kind of badass. Signal wise, the ones I highly recommend is of course anti-air, extra fire chance on your HE shells, detonation because you are a paper armored cruiser, extra heal because you will need it, extra acceleration and speed because, as I spoke before, you will need that as well, and of course extra short reload on your consumable since you have so many. And the last flag, you can choose pretty much whatever you want. I'm just grinding some Elite Captain XP right now. I should probably change this one to someone else. Yeah, like this one. But anyhow, let's jump into the Captain build. I of course run William F. Halsey on my Wooster because I think that is the best ship in the US line for me to use him on. And as you can see, I actually don't use any of the upgraded skills. And this is a thing that I do on all my special captains, like Halsey and also Yamamoto captain for the Japanese Navy. I don't really focus as much on the upgraded skills. I focus more on the special trigger that you can get using this captain. And getting extra detectability, which would nerf my detectability even more in the Wooster, only by getting double strike, which is actually kind of doable in this ship, since you have the hydro and radar. If you find a low health or maybe 2 low health destroyers, maybe a 1 low health destroyer and 1 low health cruiser, you can definitely manage to get a double strike, which would increase your detectability. Did I say that right? Yeah, whatever, you get my point. And also the extra hit hard trigger that comes with the Confederate, which is also quite doable achievement in this ship, which of course will give you 20% main battery reload time. I mean, now we're talking Harugumo reload time on your Wooster, which is kinda scary. So that is why I used my Halsey Captain on my Wooster. And if we jump to the skills, Tier 1 I have priority target, because of course you want to see how many enemies are targeting you, shooting at you. Number 2, I go for Adrenaline Rush first, because you will lose health during the match and your guns will just get angrier and angrier as you do. Number 3, I actually go for Superintendent, because you have more consumables than you have fingers pretty much. So of course you want an extra charge for each one. Tier 4, I go for, of course, Concealment Expert. It's one of the bread and butters for this cruiser, so of course get this one first. After those 10 points, I would actually earn 14 points or 4 more points and actually go for IFHE, just to get some more alpha damage out of your guns. After that I would go for Demolition Expert, just to a bit negate the nerf of the fire chance of IFHE and also boost the fire chance a bit more. And last but not least, Jack of all trades. Even further nerf of the reload time of the consumables, which is of course really great for this ship, as I mentioned before. And as you can see, this captain isn't actually fully AA spec'd right now. I could go for BFT, AFT, definitely manual AA. But I really hate the fact that Wargaming is forcing our hands pretty much, to respec everything in the game just for those bloody carriers. So I actually gonna try out this build at the start of the ranked season, and if I feel like I need that extra DPM against the carriers, then I will probably have to lose some of these really great strong captain skills and instead try to boost the nerfed AA on these ships. And about this, I mean, highly questionable decision from Wargaming to put tier 10 carriers into the new ranked season. I mean, carriers are still very work in progress in my world. They are really broken and unbalanced, and AA is unbalanced. And to put them into the ranked season, I mean, forget about playing destroyers. I mean, you really need to self-punish yourself, because playing a destroyer in this meta with tier 10 carriers and all the hydro and radar ships, I mean, you're gonna be dead within 2 minutes unless you just stay in the backhaul game. So no destroyers, because they will get focused first by the carriers and all the cruisers, of course, and of course the enemy destroyer, if there is any. Secondly, okay, so now you don't have any destroyers. Will you actually want to play battleships in ranked season? If there's no destroyers, guess who will get the main focus from both the tier 10 carrier and all the tier 10 fire spamming, torp spamming cruisers? Yeah, this guy! Yeah, so pretty much no destroyers and no battleships in the ranked season. So what does that leave us? A tier 10 carrier versus 6 heavily spec'd AA fire spamming cruisers. Yeah, fun for the whole family! Yay! Yeah, so enough wargaming salt, I know. Let's just jump into the game, shall we? So, this little how-to tutorial isn't really in regards to counter carrier gameplay, because I don't really know what that is, except for just respecking your ships. But this is more like how I usually play my Wooster. And the Wooster gameplay, of course, you can also implement on all those low armored light cruisers, like also the British cruiser line with the Minotaur as well. They have kind of a different alpha damage output, but they play pretty much the same. So I start off this 3-cap domination game. I spawn close to the sea cap, where there is quite a few islands actually. And this is pretty much the perfect position for Worchester or Wooster. Because you would love to use islands at the start of the game to try and just save your health pool for the late game, where you will really need to use it. So I'm just looking around. The carrier is scouting the sea cap, but I deter his planes with my anti-aircraft. I would love for the friendly Kitakase to actually push into the cap, but I'm not really certain what he's trying to do. If he wants to go to the B cap, where there already are 2 destroyers, or what. But I try to find my way to this island you can see in front of my ship. And this island is pretty good to use when you spawn on this side at the sea cap, because you can sit behind this island and spam quite easily over with these US Navy rainbow arcs. And also sitting this close, I can try and help my allies with my anti-air, and also hopefully be able to help my friendly destroyer with my radar and hydro. And I spot my first target, which is one of the absolute favorite targets in the game for a Wooster or fire spamming cruiser for that matter. It's a tier 10 French battleship Republique that is extra acceptable to HE spam due to his low armored deck. I also see a Des Moines, who strangely just sits out in the open, full broadside to our team. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like any one of my teammates are in a position to actually punish him, which he really should be. But I start to engage him with my guns and of course force him to back off. So hopefully that will help my friendly destroyer captain being able to secure the cap outside his radar range. So I switch focus to the Republic. And this is pretty much the way I should recommend anyone playing low armored HE spamming cruisers at the start of the game. And this of course includes the tier 8 premium Mikhail Kutuzov, and also of course the lower tier British and US Navy light cruisers. So just try and find a good position behind an island where you can fire on the enemy team without getting spotted. Because of course the moment you get spotted you could be in a world of hurt. I'm trying to switch between different targets, see which one I can be most effective against. So the Des Moines chooses to pop forward once again, so I start to try and punish him, set some fires on him, and pretty much try and force him to back off, because I want to preserve the Kitakaze's health pool as much as possible. And as you can see, I'm up to almost 50,000 damage so far, and I haven't really been spotted that much in the game. And this is of course the great effect of knowing how to position yourself behind islands near caps. You can be extremely useful. In this case, I can provide hydroacoustic search for torpedoes for my allies. I can use radar to spot enemy destroyers for my allies. And of course I can also use my anti-air, defensive anti-air towards the enemy carrier. And this is pretty much the way I will choose to play my Wooster and also my Minotaur in the upcoming ranked season, since they will also have tier 10 carriers in them. So just try and read the minimap, read which islands that are close enough to caps where your friendly destroyer, if they're gonna be any in the ranked season. And just position yourself in a good way where you can arc your shells over the island and still be able to give hydro, radar and defensive AA support for your teammates. And then of course it always comes a time in the game where you pretty much have to push out and play a bit more reckless. And I really say that, play reckless, because in this ship you can't really stand getting focused by more than one ship. And sometimes not even that, because you have no armor. Armor angling on this ship is pretty much non-existent, so that is why you have to preserve as much health as you can in the start of the game, because the longer you survive in the game, the bigger impact you will have. So I'm looking at maybe be able to kill off this enemy Minotaur that has been lurking outside the cap for a long time. I was a bit late in using my defensive AA to help the friendly Richelieu, but at the same time the range of the AA is not really what it has been before, so sometimes you have to be really close to be really effective to help others. So we managed to kill off the Minotaur, and it still looks pretty good. We are up on ships, we have been up on caps, even though the enemy team are actually right now flipping the B cap. But it's still looking pretty good. We have enemy curve first that is parked broadside to I think about 4 friendly ships. So we should be able to punish him a bit for this. I get spotted, and of course, as you can see, I directly get focused. And this is the problem, of course, with playing a fire spamming low armored target, that you will always be the #1 focus for the enemy. Because I have pretty much harassed the living hell out of this Des Moines, the Kurfürst, the Republic before, and also the Minotaur. So of course, me getting spotted will draw a lot of aggro and focus. And that's why you have to play this ship really smart and use concealment and hard cover as much as you can. Now the cyclone is in full effect. Of course, this ship also being quite good in cyclones, because you can look at the minimap and see pretty much the whereabouts of the enemy fleet. You can see where destroyers are positioned and enemy cruisers. And of course, with the 9-kilometer radar, I have 1 kilometer of free damage output to enemy ships before they can spot me in the cyclone, which of course is really great. So I can pretty much push enemy destroyers, activate my hydroacoustic search, and when I feel I'm pretty much close enough, I can just open up with my radar, and I can pretty much spot him 1 kilometer before he spots me. So he won't really be able to react in time. That said, it's not really fun to push into an enemy battleship in this ship at the range of 8 kilometers, because, well, he's gonna blap you. So I notice on the minimap that the B cap is pretty well occupied by enemy ships. So I will need to have to play this a bit cautiously, because if I just rush in Leroy Jenkins style, then I will get killed instantly. So I'm looking at this island to the left actually, thinking that this could actually be my next great positioning on this map, to be able to fire on the ships at the B cap, also support with my defensive AA and radar and hydroacoustic search. I use my radar and the Monarch pops up. And this was a great thing, because this gave me some time to actually be able to dodge behind this island and not get surprised by him pretty much. But of course we have enemy Grocer Kurfürst popping out behind an island, and this is gonna be bad. So I'm just trying to angle in as much as possible, trying to pull a Notzer pretty much, so my ship will stop at this island, so I won't peek out for the enemy Monarch and the Minotaur pushing the other side. And I managed to stop my ship, but I'm still showing my bow to this enemy Kurfürst, and well, my armor isn't really anything for the Kurfürst to punish. As you saw, I lost pretty much 60% of my health. And that is why you play your Wooster and Minotaur just like this. Also a great thing to think about is that the timer was about 11 when the cyclone hit, and cyclones usually last for about 6-7 minutes. So if you know that fact, you know that about around 5 minutes, so pretty much 2 minutes from now, the cyclone will actually start to lift. And that is some good information to have. because then the whole scenario pretty much in this game will change and you will have full detectability again. So that number is always a good thing to have in mind when you're playing. Now the Kurfürst is pushing out from behind the island, so I need to again reposition myself in a very smart way. I also see the enemy Minotaur pushing in front to be able to punish me. And they actually are so... he has such a big hard-on for me that he actually parks broadside on to the friendly ships just to be able to try and punish me and maybe drop some torps on me. So I back up again, trying to help out with this Kurfürst. Trying out first the AP on his superstructure, see if that's gonna be a good effect. He starts to angle, so of course I switch to HE instead. And the moments I see his turrets starts turning towards me, I need to use my modules, as I spoke of before, to actually push forward again. So I don't get punished by him. And that is why you use the acceleration modules on this ship. Now the Monarch is also backing up. He has his guns towards the other side. So again I try and switch. And usually the sweet spot is right on the hull, where the hull meets the superstructure. Because these calibers won't really have the possibility to pen battleship torpedo armor. And the match ends. And it was quite a good game. Over 200,000 damage done. 1 kill, 11 fires, wither and high caliber. Quite a bit of experience earned. And as you can see, earning almost 1 million credits in a tier 10 silver ship. So I wouldn't be that cautious using those premium consumables as I spoke of before. Made number 2 in the list, which is always nice. I got beaten by our friendly Kitakame, who did a really great job. And, well, over 2,000 base experience, which is always nice. And looking at the damage, you can see a big part of the damage, 60,000, comes from fires. And that is, of course, where the different captain skills comes into play, like IFHE, Demolition Expert. If I spec my captain fully decked out for just anti-air, I don't think I will see these kind of damage games, unfortunately. And that is truly sad. Shot down 7 planes, but I wasn't really focused by the carrier this round, and my AA range, of course, being nerfed, can't really shoot down as much if you're not getting focused. And I tanked over 700,000 potential damage. Now, this is not a record number by any stretch of the imagination. In my tanky Hindenburg, I can usually tank like 2.7, 2.8 million. And 700, of course, isn't that lot. But if you consider this is a paper armored cruiser with 45,000 hit points, these 700, of course, coming from the exact second I get spotted, I get focused by a lot of battleships and cruisers. So you pull your weight. And that is, of course, also the tactic and thinking behind pretty much never to get spotted in these kind of ships. because that means you will survive and be able to put out even more damage in the end game. And looking at the final result screen, it's pretty decent earnings with free XP, Captain XP and credits. So I want to thank you guys so much for checking out this little how-to tutorial from me, how to use the Wooster in the upcoming ranked season. Of course, this is how I like to play my Wooster and Minotaur. You can of course choose to play however you want it, but as you can see, this is one way to be really effective in these kind of light cruisers. And also to change position when the battlefield pretty much changes. You find a new forward position where you continue to do your damage output, continue to support your teammates with hydro, radar and defensive AA. And that is pretty much how you play these ships, in my mind. So please leave a like and a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more amazing World of Warship gameplay. Until next time guys, have a good one. Bye bye.